Story time at the Rubus from Burning Man?
I'm pretty sure that's where we're at.
You think so?
Yeah. Hey, I'm Daniel.
And I'm Sharla.
I think you guys know that by now. But yes, we are at Burning Man. We are at Camp Radiate Positivity or Camp Rubus. What are we calling this?
I don't think we have an official camp name.
No, me and Sharla are
Absolutely
camping on
not.
our own. There's a lot of big group camps, kind of like you see in the group camping area at Bonnaroo.
But
Very similar
a little
here.
bit more massive.
Yeah, we'll talk way more about that
Thousands.
later. Oh gosh, yeah. We will have much to say about that later. So yeah, we're at our camp right now. We are less than a day in. We got in late last night, and it's about noon on, what day is this, Tuesday?
Tuesday, yes.
Yeah. It's the hot part of the day, so we're chilling at our camp, having something to eat. We're going to go back out later after it starts cooling down a little bit. All right, quick take, Sharla. What do you think so far?
So, I'm getting 2013 Bonnaroo vibes.
Now, why's that?
Because I started on my very first day absolutely hating it, was not feeling it, was not having a good time, and then I met some really cool-ass people.
Oh, yeah. We have a story to tell about that in a moment. Why don't we go to past Daniel and Sharla for now?
Let's kick it back.
Yeah. So we recorded a bit on our way in. We're going to go back to that, and we'll be back with you in just a moment.
So I guess we need to thank future Daniel and Sharla.
Yeah, we do a lot of time traveling on this show. It's kind of fun. So through the magic of editing, we're back in time now. Sharla and I are on the road, kind of in northwest Arizona?
Yeah, we're about 30 miles outside of Kingman, Arizona.
Yeah. And ever since we came through Flagstaff, Arizona, I'm like, man, is the landscape ever going to change? It was kind of plainy, kind of hilly with like pine trees and such. But as soon as we decided to record this a little bit, it drastically changed. We're going through like some crazy like hilly mountains, and it's getting a lot more like rocky and bouldery.
You know what's wild to me is all through basically New Mexico, Arizona, when it does change, it's like
Boom.
It
Yeah.
just cuts off. There's no like gradualness to it, in my opinion. It's just like boom, cuts off. Pine trees, mountains, rocks.
It's kind of wild. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
slowly turning into the desert that I remember from visiting Vegas before.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of wild. I always dreamed about going cross country like this, and in my mind I always thought that the landscape would just gradually change. You would go from like the woods of the deep south to like the plains of central US to kind of the desert out here. And it kind of goes back and forth. Like, we're coming up on an amazing vista right now as we're recording this.
Wow,
This is
I gotta
amazing.
take a photo.
Yeah, take a photo. Is this what you imagine this kind of cross country trip to be like, Sharla?
Absolutely. Well, maybe not this beautiful.
Another aspect of it too is like, I'm feeling a lot better than I thought I would. I thought by this point I would be like worn out and drowsy, but we planned it out. We've done our stops and have eat healthy. I think that's important. We haven't stopped for fast food that much at all.
Most definitely, I agree. I'm definitely feeling a ton better. I'm used to driving long distance since I've did a couple of long distance car trips on my own, and I thought I would feel kind of sluggish, but honestly, I'm feeling great right now.
Now, we did last night. We drove into Albuquerque about midnight, and I had to like kind of troll you to keep you awake since you were driving. That's the only time.
But yeah, we definitely had to stop last night and get a room, a hotel room.
Also been very lucky that there hasn't really been any traffic tie-ups.
No, we haven't had any traffic problems. We didn't even go through any road construction, really.
There was some, but there was really no traffic through it. So we've been, very, very lucky. So we're coming into Henderson, Nevada tonight. I didn't want to stay in Vegas. We've done that before. I didn't want
Been there, done that.
Yeah, I didn't really want to deal with that foolishness. If you really want to, there's a place where you can play penny slots across the parking lot.
Oh, let me get my penny slots
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to rest up before we go into Burning Man. So you'll hear from Future and Daniel and Sharla in just a moment. What's the plan tomorrow, Sharla? I think we're going to wake up and see the Artemis launch, hopefully. Mm-hmm. Artemis 1 is launching first thing in the morning. So tomorrow's going to be a wild day. We're going into space in more ways than one tomorrow, I think.
So how do you think Future Daniel and Sharla are out there on the Playa doing? I
bet that it's going to take us a day to adjust, and we'll really get into our stride and kind of know what we're doing after the first day. So like, I bet by Tuesday evening we're really feeling it, now that we've gotten everything built at our camp and are really feeling it and kind of know our neighbors a little bit perhaps.
That's what I'm worried about, because you have to like really build everything, and
Oh, we got that.
well, when we go to Bonnaroo, we just roll up in the bus.
There's a few things to do. Put up a canopy and kind of like the outdoor furniture and stuff.
Well,
It's kind of the same here.
One little canopy is not the same as...
Well, I don't think it's as bad as you think it's going to be.
I don't like building.
Like we got the tent, the canopy, the little floor, 2 chairs, our tables, our Bonnaroo arched. Don't forget that. That's underneath all of our stuff back there.
That's going to blow away.
No, I'm going to strap it down. We're going to be good. I'm going to tape it and strap it. We got this. So I think that's it for us from the road. So we'll pass it back to future Daniel and Sharla. All right, hey guys, it's Monday, and about a half hour or so ago, we left Las Vegas, and I think it's safe to say we've left town and are in the desert now. It's looking much more like I expected today. How you feeling today, Charlotte?
A little bit nervous, but I think we'll get there.
All right, so let's talk this out. What's got you nervous about getting there this evening?
I'm mostly nervous about having to set everything up because I know that's going to be a lot of hard work.
I don't think it's going to be that bad. So when we get there, I'm going to take the bikes off the back of your Subaru. Have to reassemble that, put the front tire back on.
Yeah.
It'll just take a few minutes. We've got to put down our little flooring, the canopy, and the tent. That'll take what? Half hour, 45 minutes?
Yeah.
It's not that bad. By the time we get there, or first thing in the morning, if we decide to wait, it'll be cooler because it won't have the humidity that we're used to in Manchester, you know. So I don't think that'll be that bad. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is like the desert winds. But I think we've planned ahead. We've got like the giant, screw stakes that I'm putting in with a drill.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't know. We've never been there. So we're going to have to find out for ourselves,
I just don't want to get there and be miserable.
Well, what do you think is going to make you miserable?
The wind blowing everywhere.
The wind blowing. Oh, with the dust in your face?
And having to set up camp while that's happening.
Well, that's why we bought goggles.
I know.
Yeah. I think we're both just nervous about the unknown.
Exactly.
Like, at this point, after 10 years, we could do Bonnaroo in our sleep. But this being a big deal that we've never done with a lot different, I think that's understandably got us a little, got your stomach in a knot.
We probably packed completely wrong. We probably did everything so wrong.
What did we do wrong?
Well, no, because we bought food. We stopped, to get the last of our food, to get our water, stuff like that. And I was like, I just don't think we brought enough food. So we had to make a second stop to get more food.
I think we had enough, but I understand being overprepared.
But I was just nervous about it because at Burning Man, there's nowhere to buy food. There's nowhere to buy water. You can't buy anything at Burning Man.
In theory, there's going to be a lot of people serving stuff for free, but you can't really count on that.
Right, you can't count on that.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I need to bring more stuff. I need to bring more stuff. Just having kind of a little, not a freak out, but just like a nervous, so we're going to go and find out that we packed completely wrong and done this.
Well, I mentally prepared for this. During this road trip, had very good tacos. Talked about that last time.
Yeah.
Had an In-N-Out burger last night. Finally remembered to slap the bun for Miss Chloe. I violently slapped that. She enjoyed it. So I've eat well on the way here.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I know I may just be eating in survival mode once we're there,
Yeah, well, we do that at Bonnaroo.
Yeah, and then we'll eat good when we leave. So I'm not that worried about that.
Well, I know, I guess what I'm saying is at Bonnaroo, if I get overly hungry, I'm just going to go buy something. But, here, I guess you could go.
I have downloaded the Munch Guide, the PDF of all the listing of where you can find stuff to eat.
I know.
I think that's why, I'm not going to name names, but I think that's why I've heard from some people that have gone to Burning Man in the past and came away feeling a little disappointed because they hadn't mentally prepared in that way,
Right, exactly.
All right, we're driving by Great Basin something or other just north of Vegas.
There's a Love's next to it. That's really cool.
I've seen too many Loves. I need more Buc-ee's on the road out here.
We have not seen a single Buc-ee's this whole trip.
How did we go through the Texas Panhandle and Oklahoma and all that and not come across a Buc-ee's?
Right?
They've got to up their game. I need more beaver. Yeah, so the plan today is we're going to stop and visit the aliens for a moment. And after that, I think it's another 5-6 hours to Burning Man.
Yeah, we woke up this morning and we immediately went and got an oil change on the car.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to try to stop and get an air filter because we're going to change that out after we leave the burn.
As long as we do that before we get out of Nevada, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
I just want to take care of Charlotte's car and
right,
get us home.
Exactly. Because they say, the dust can really get up in your engine, and cause some and cause some problems.
If we see an AutoZone or whatever, we'll stop.
Yeah.
Wow, look at this. We just came over a hill.
That is gorgeous.
And it's like expansive desert. I've been out here in Nevada to Vegas before. Charlotte and I came for a cheap vacation to Vegas about almost 10 years ago.
It was 10 years ago. It was 2012.
Wow. And I came out here about 5 or so years ago for work to a convention type thing. But I haven't been out in this area north of Vegas, and this looks like, I don't know how to describe this.
Yeah, I've never been in this area.
Like a postcard looking desert, you know?
This is my first time north of Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, this is all uncharted territory. All right, so next time you hear from us, we'll either be near the aliens at Area 51 or at Burning Man. We'll see you.
Thank you, past Daniel and Sharla.
How's present Charlotte feeling?
Feeling pretty good.
Are you hot?
Little warm.
You know, we have kind of like this modified Bonnaroo setup out here. We have kind of like a military mesh looking thing on top of our canopy. It's actually working pretty good. I feel cool enough.
Yeah,
here.
you know, the heat is not as bad, but comparatively, the heat at Bonnaroo this year, woo!
That was bad.
Woo-woo.
So it's Tuesday at Burning Man. It's about noon 30 out here right now.
Noon 30.
It's very tolerable because of the lack of humidity that we usually have in the deep south in the summertime.
Yeah.
Like, I'm able to do this, like, not super easily, but easily enough.
Yeah.
It's kind of odd. I expected it to be much more brutal. Now, we did get a sign of how brutal it was as soon as we came back to our camp today. So, RIP mini arch, it melted.
It melted.
Yeah, we came back and it had like
I don't know how Team Day Drunk was able to keep theirs up.
Yeah, well, it lasted a good 4 hours, Charlotte. I got a picture.
I got a video.
You got a video? Well, that's okay. We can show that. But we do have like our Radiate Positivity Here theme out here. So we got that sign on the front of our camp in a little box. We've already got a lot of notes. We'll read that on a future episode. Maybe when we get back, we'll edit this in after the fact. What do you think?
Yeah.
We'll do that at the end of the episode. Yeah. We'll pick all of them if there's not a lot. The best ones if there are a lot. How about that?
Absolutely.
So, Charlie, you want to tell them a story about what happened this morning on our first day ride out on our bikes in Burning Man?
What happened?
Well, we went over there and we got the bourbon and a little bologna sandwich, but you got a great welcome to Burning Man from a new friend.
About the outfits?
Yeah, tell about that.
Okay, so we met this really, 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 really cool person. Their name was Noralina, and she's originally from the Carolinas, and she gave us some outfits. She gifted us some outfits. So, you know, the whole, like, Burning Man, one of the traditions is the gift economy. So you gift back and forth things, and she gifted us with some really cool outfits that she hand makes. And it was so cool. So, like I mentioned in the very first part of the podcast, I personally, you know, ran into a little bit of, you know, kind of snarkism, kind of snarky people last night that I was really just not feeling it, you know, kind of what I would consider like some rude kind of people. And I was just not feeling it. And then this morning we had some really great conversations with our neighbors. And then we ran into this really, really awesome person, Norlena. And she gifted us with these amazing outfits that she makes. And just such a friendly conversation, and just feeling that vibe, and just such a good, kind-hearted person.
Yeah, that was a great welcome. Like, we got a little tipsy because, like, that same camp over there was giving us a bunch of bourbon and stuff.
I don't know. I don't think she was with the camp.
Oh, she was just visiting there, too?
Yeah, she was just visiting there, too.
Okay.
But, we got some bourbon from Camp Kentucky Fried, so free bologna sandwich.
That was fun, yeah.
We mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, all right. So we're only on day one, so we'll have more to say on future edits from future Daniel and Charlotte. Doing a lot of time traveling on this. Yeah. All right, we'll kick it to them.
Hello, boys and girls. It's Tuesday at Burning Man.
It's Tuesday, my dudes.
It's about sunset. It's about 7:30.
It's beautiful.
And we actually came back to our camp to regenerate so that we can go in for the night.
I'm going to be straight up honest. We've been going hard for about 4 hours now.
Been going hard since about 9 o'clock this morning.
A thing or two was done that I dare not repeat on this podcast. Keep going, Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
So my recap so far.
Yes.
I'm going to put this in terms that Bonnaroo people can understand.
Oh, here we go.
If Wooks had money.
We were sitting in this like big 2-story place that was like full of lounges and like a piano bar or something, if I remember right. And that's where Sharla first started saying that. So let's put it this way. If any of our friends listening to this have been to the monkey bar that our friend Dave runs, he used to be at Camp Redroo. Now he does his own thing. He was like pretty close to the Arch this past year. Imagine if there was something that was the monkey bar, but times like, you know, an order of magnitude, like hundreds, thousands.
Right.
This place is massive. Like, we have only experienced like maybe like 10% of it.
The monkey bar, if you know what the monkey bar is at Bonnaroo, which I know not everybody that listens to the podcast or not everybody that follows.
Well, let's back up and explain it. Like,
okay, well, yeah. So the monkey bar, Dave is Dave is one of the most amazing people that you will ever meet at Bonnaroo.
Super friendly, charitable dude that runs a bar that gives out drinks for free and is the best friend to anyone he meets.
He gives it out for free. He used to be with Camp Redroo, but now he kind of does his own thing, and he gives out free drinks at Bonnaroo, and to over 21 plus, obviously.
Just because he wants to make friends, basically.
Right. And it's a free bar. It's a.
By the way, what you're hearing in the background is apparently a Burning Man tradition. People howl at the sunset and stuff.
Howl at the sunset, howl at the moon at Bonnaroo. I'm sorry, at Burning Man. My bad.
There's an overlap. We'll talk about it later.
Sorry, had a few drinks.
A few? Anyway, keep going.
So the monkey bar, it is a Bonnaroo tradition. Dave, he runs it, just an amazing person, and he sets up it's basically in two spaces, and it's he does the construction for it. I think he does construction in real life.
He does, yeah.
Or in real life, you know. You know what I mean.
They know
Sorry,
you
had the drinks.
They know what you mean.
And it's a bar, you know, at Bonnaroo, and you know, he does it in the campgrounds. And,
and also, it's much more than a bar because it's like a great hangout space where you can like make friends and chill.
He has the blow up couches in there. He has the hammocks in there. The hammocks in there, I should say. He has the hammocks in there, and just a really, really good chill hangout space for people. Even if you don't drink, it's a really good hangout space. Really good chill vibe to meet people. I mean, just an amazing human being.
And the reason we're talking about that is because this whole place, Burning Man, is like that. It has that vibe.
Right, and Dave, he does it primarily by himself, but he also has help from his really good friend Richard. Got to give props to Richard. So that's what the monkey bar is, and
Murfreesboro represent.
Right, exactly. And so imagine the monkey bar on steroids times 1,000.
This whole place is like if the campgrounds was all of Bonnaroo, and the campgrounds did a lot more. If they had more funding, if they had more like encouragement, if they went all out. It's crazy. Like, think Bonnaroo, but like without the stages, and it was just all the campgrounds. Sorry, I'm a little delirious, but
right.
I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. Yeah.
Right. So I will say, I've learned, and this is only Tuesday. We got here Monday.
On a Tuesday.
It opened on Sunday. We got here Monday because we don't have that much time off work. We got here.
Yeah.
We're coming from a great distance away. You have to have, from what I've experienced so far, you have to have a really, really, really thick skin at Burning Man.
Oh, why do you say that?
Because we did experience some...
That guy, that girl.
And people that do not have the same friendliness that they have at Bonnaroo.
Now, I have had a great time.
Well, let me finish.
Okay, go ahead, babe.
So you do have to have a thick skin. Not everybody is going to respond in a positive attitude. So where I'm going with this is our very, 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 very close friend, amazing person, Mitchell. Mitchell is the type of person, he will go up to anybody. Hey, I love what you're doing, man. You keep doing you. You're an amazing person.
Yeah.
Like, he does that all the time. So
he is a peach, a Georgia peach.
Exactly. So Daniel has kind of bounced off that.
Oh, yeah.
And Daniel has bounced off that a lot.
I feel bad that Mitchell's not here. I'm trying to,
Right.
like, channel him a little bit.
Right. So Daniel has bounced off that a lot and has really channeled that Mitchell energy. And Daniel has kind of used that attitude here, and he'll try to start conversations with people. Hey, man, I love what you're doing. You do you. You're doing great.
You're doing a great job.
Doing a great job. Which is, you would typically see that at Bonnaroo. That's the kind of attitude that you see at Bonnaroo, that you hear at Bonnaroo, rather. And the reaction that you would always get at Bonnaroo is typically, I would say, 90% or 90, even 95%. It's just wholesome, positive, radiate positivity, reactions. Out here at Burning Man, I would say it's, what would you say, 50-50?
Oh, I feel like I need some more days here to, like,
Right,
really...
exactly. Like I'm saying, this is only Tuesday.
I'm having a great day today, I'll just say that.
Well, I'm saying, like, you get a 50-50 reaction, because there are that, you get the bro type. On the other hand, we have met some freaking amazing people.
Oh, yeah.
We have met some freaking phenomenal people, and the people that we have met, that we have been able to have those conversations with, that we have been able to have conversations with, have been just nothing short of absolute phenomenal.
We were joking about, like, when we couldn't get to Bonnaroo for 2 years, that the headliners are going to be the people, and, like, that's really been the case here. When I found that, like, when I'm not, like, worried about trying to get to, like, a certain band playing at a certain stage at a certain time, like, I don't worry about time.
Right.
So, like, I'm going to spend a lot more time, like, making friends, like, just chatting people up and seeing what they're about and what they're up to, how they're doing, and stuff like that. And I feel, like, so enriched having done that. Like, I'm having a good time. Like, there's a funky looking art car going by right now I'm looking at in the background, but, like, that's cool. But, like, the fun thing to me is, like, meeting people and just seeing how they're doing and, like, sharing experiences from, like, honestly what's been a rough couple of years for a lot.
Right. I mean, like,
a lot of people.
We're not in a camp, but, like, we're actually parked next to a camp, and they're amazing, absolutely amazing, like nothing short of amazing. So just the interactions, I mean, the people that we are able to meet and have conversations with, phenomenal. 10-10.
Something else I want to talk about real quick for this little segment. Charlie and I visited this area at Burning Man today called the Temple. For those that don't know, it's kind of like out in like an open area behind the man that burns the second to last day. And it's considered a little bit more of like a solemn, almost spiritual area where people are more respectful, and they put up memorials to people that have passed. And I feel like, Charlotte, correct me if I'm speaking for you here, but I feel like that was something that really hit a lot of people in a very emotional way, because I saw so many things about people that have been lost the past 2 years, because, I mean, let's be honest, for a lot of reasons, the past 2 years have been rough for so many people. And that really hit me. So, like, today hasn't just been, like, a party day, meeting new friends, having a drink or two, and, like, doing all this crazy stuff. But it's also been, like, okay, we're going to, like, experience life and, like, talk things out. I met a dude from London by way of Israel.
Cool.
I spent some time with today. And, like, we had a good talk. And I never met this dude. Had a deep talk with him. And, like, I feel better for having met him and talked with him in the temple, you know? We don't really have a place like that at Bonnaroo. Maybe we should. I don't know.
Yeah. So we had talked about it on the previous podcast. Celia had asked us about it. And I said, well, I'll go in and I'll look or whatever, but you don't really go up in somebody else's church and take their pew. That's how we put it.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I went in and I looked, and there was one, I mean, I won't tell the story, but it was about a mom. And I was like, I read the whole thing. And needless to say, I didn't have my makeup after I walked out.
It's a place to work out some stuff too.
And I did.
Not just a party.
I'll be very, I'm sorry, it takes a little bit of liquid courage to say this, but there was somebody that left a marker in there, and you can write things. And like I said, I didn't bring anything because I'm not going to go up in somebody's pew, but just on a little note in there, I did write, wear your seatbelt.
Oh man. Maybe we can talk more about that another day.
We will.
Yeah, we can and will, yeah. It's been an eventful day, like our first full day here. The sun's going down right now. We're resting up a little bit, but going to have a snack and see what else we can get into. It is Thursday, September 1st. Is it? Yes. 6:47 a.m. And Sharla and I are just now headed back to our camp. We did an all-nighter for Tycho for the sunrise. Tell you about that later. We're riding bikes on the way back to our camp through the middle of everything right now. Tell them what happened in the middle of the night.
So we were sleeping on the deep playa, and it was really dark. And I heard, and then I turned over, and I thought a guy was pissing on our blanket. And number one, you absolutely cannot just pee out here like that.
Yeah, that's a big no-no.
Yeah. And number two, why would somebody just be peeing on us? Like, what the hell? and I was like, Daniel was, huh? And I said, there's a guy here.
Yeah. And I look up, and we didn't even exchange that thought. I thought he was taking a leak, too. And, like, here, come around. We got to drive through the sand over here. Hang on. Be right with you. Here we go. All right. But then he's like, hey, man, we're just going to play through. They had golf clubs and glow-in-the-dark golf balls, or LED golf balls. And they were doing an imaginary golf course all through, like, deep Playa.
They didn't know we were there.
He didn't know. He was like, oh, there's people here. And he was like, my bad, man. He thought I was going to be really upset. But I just said, like, what hole are we? Anyway, there's some big bassy show happening over here. Tycho was amazing. I'll tell you about that later. We're going to get back to our camp and not die, but close enough. Anything else, Charlotte?
It's not the Jedi way.
Oh, we'll tell you that one later. Hey!
Alright, it's some hours later.
Yeah, I don't know how many hours exactly, but not enough. We slept a good chunk between then and now.
I think I could sleep again.
Probably take a nap later. Yeah, I think we got another 2-3 hours in now. We got about 2 or 3 hours in by the fence.
Yeah.
Talk about that. That was an adventure last night. We wandered away through the streets here in Black Rock City. What all did we find? We found some good stuff to eat, a couple of parties, the grilled cheese place.
Oh, the moon cheese place.
Moon cheese.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Moon cheese was cool because, like, they had, like, a really intricate setup. There was, like, these pillars of cheese as you make your way to get a grilled cheese. And if you didn't want to wait, and it was only, like, 10 minutes, there was a guy that was giving away, it's like, hey, shitty version here, you don't have to wait.
Yeah.
What'd he say?
I don't remember.
Something like that. But we ate both kinds.
Yeah.
Something else is you can go bar hopping around here, like, everywhere. You just show your ID, and they're like, here, what do you want?
You really don't even need to bring alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot to mention that. Yeah, we haven't even touched our alcohol hardly at all.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, but you don't have to even bring alcohol.
Actually, I'm looking at my little bourbon here, and there's only like 10% of it gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can just bar hop around here at all the different camps.
That's the whole point, yeah.
Yeah. There was a couple of really good ones last night. There was some very intricate things that I saw last night.
Uh-huh.
There were 2 places that looked just as good as any legit big festival I've been to. It even looked like it could be like a Vegas party place.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
There was one that I was already impressed with. You go in and you were like basically indoors, and like giant mirrors and a super nice bar and a dance floor and like a stage. It's about the size of like a basketball gym, give or take. But then we see this giant pyramid off in the distance. And first of all, it's like pretty tall. I would guess like 300 feet tall. And they've got like projection light mapping on the side of it. I was joking around with Charlotte. I was like, is this the Bass Pro Shops?
Oh my gosh.
Like that we saw in Memphis?
Yes. Oh my gosh. That was probably the best setup.
That was amazing.
Art thing I've seen here. I mean, obviously, it was one of the biggest.
It was like venue/art. Yeah. Tell them about it.
Well, like Daniel said, it was a giant pyramid. Not glass, but like glass-like.
I don't know what it was made of.
Sorts.
Yeah.
And you go in, and it was huge, and they had pillows all over the floor, and toward the back they had pillows, and you could either chill on the pillow, and we took a little nap.
It was like pillows in the rave floor.
Yeah, or you could dance up in the front, and I mean, we could have laid there for hours, but the only reason we really like decked on out of there is because they were going to like move some of the pillows for more dance room. Yeah.
And then we went zigzagging around in the middle with like all the art and everything. And we did something crazy. Charlotte didn't want to like have to come back, right?
Well, no. Well, yeah, because it was like, we were out there in like deep Playa.
So just with a couple of blankets, we camped out next to the trash fence, like way on out there at the very edge of Black Rock City.
Yeah.
For like 3 hours, took like a super long nap. Woke up 5 a.m. It was time for Tycho to get started.
So, yeah, we should clarify. So, like, at Burning Man, there's no, like, center route. But if you go into what's called center camp, that's where you kind of enter, like, the part where they burn the man.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, where they burn the man is kind of like their version of center route.
Yeah, I keep joking that it is.
I mean, essentially, that's where nobody camps there. So that's kind of where they have like the biggest art installations, I would say.
Oh yeah.
And when we talk about deep Playa, if you go past where they burn the man and you keep going out and out and out and out and out, you're going to eventually hit something called the trash fence.
It's probably like 3 miles away from the man.
You think so?
Maybe 2. It's a long way.
It's a long way. I don't know the exact dimensions. But you're eventually going to hit the trash fence, and that's like as far as it goes out there. And so we went out there and we camped next to the trash fence. And the whole joke all the time is Daft Punk is playing at the trash fence.
Might have happened. We don't know.
There was a DJ out there last night. But
I think it was Diplo that we saw at midnight before we went out there.
Really?
Yeah, on the giant like heart thing. I'll never be for sure, but that's what it sounded like.
There's an art car here, Robot Heart, and they're pretty famous. They're kind of like a Walter Productions kind of thing, but they're more of a preppy Walter.
Ask us privately. We'll tell you more about that.
But more of a preppy version of Walter. To say it nicely. But anyway,
there's some Silicon Valley money being thrown around out here. Let's put it that way.
East New York. I think they're from New York. Maybe.
Well,
but anyways,
if not then,
ask us later.
Yeah, ask us privately.
Anyways, they rolled up out there last night, and they had a DJ. And you don't think it was Diplo?
I think it was. I'll never be for sure.
But we'll never be for sure. So anyways, we took a nap out there at the trash fence. We slept for a good 3 hours.
The only thing that really woke us up was like I was barely awake and I hear like 4.
We talked about it.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, everything's
And,
blending together.
Anyway, so we were out there for a while, and so we got up. When the sun started coming up, we're like, okay, it's time, and like we just started asking around. Hey, do you know where Tycho? And everybody was looking for Tycho.
There's like dozens, 50, 100 people like going back and forth on their bikes. Like, you seen Tycho? You seen the Rhino?
We met the super awesome guy Drew from Ohio.
Yeah, we gotta go see him today.
And 99%, well not 99%, 90% of people, are from San Francisco.
LA, San Francisco, some Portland, Seattle.
Yeah, and we met the super awesome guy Drew from Ohio. He was like, Ohio, it's a place.
I live there.
And
the parachute people are right now. They're like, "Yep, checks out."
He, we drove around with him for a while. I rode around with him for a while, and I finally saw it. He's like, "Yeah, he's on this thing called the Dusty Rhino. It's a little."
It's not very big. It's about the size of a small RV.
It's like a little dinosaur, and I finally saw it off in the distance.
Well, we zigzagged around out there in like the deep area, thinking that we saw it.
Yeah, it was.
There
weird.
was one that there goes somebody partying. There was one that we thought was it, but as we got closer, we realized it was a unicorn and not a rhino.
Yeah.
Then finally we go out in the middle, and Charlotte thinks she sees it. This is probably like a good 3/4 of a mile away off in the distance, so it's hard to make it out. We get closer, and I start hearing like that certain kind of music. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is him. We get closer, see the rhino, and like a good number of people already there, probably like 200-300.
Yeah.
But it grew to like thousands pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
And it was beautiful. It was everything. I've been wanting to see that particular thing, that show, in that place for like better part of a decade. And it was so magical. Like finding it, like not knowing exactly when, where, but like finally coming across it, and then being there for a bit and seeing the sun come up was so magical.
Everybody like in that. Actually, when we were like actually in that crowd was was like super amazing.
Oh yeah. The guy with the mouse trap.
Felix, he had a mouse trap that he was like, catch this mouse trap, and if you catch it, I'll take a shot.
I trolled the troll. I was like, at first I'm like, I'm not doing that. But he was like, okay. But I caught it with like my blanket. He's like, that's cheating. And I'm like,
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, you got me there. But yeah, some more time at Burning Man. We're doing a little bit of a self-care day. We're eating well this morning, soaking our feet.
I just want to give a shout out to our neighbors over here.
The disco balls.
Yeah, they've been just so nice and incredible.
So welcoming.
So welcoming.
Very Bonnaroovian.
Yeah, just very nice, very kind. Very, very kind.
You know, we may talk about this later, but Burning Man is very diverse, and it's also diverse in terms of people's attitudes.
Right.
We're finding.
Definitely. We met these really super, super cool, nice people. We met this girl, Grace, from San Francisco. She was from the Bay Area. And so nice. She was camped with this group, the French Quarter, and she said they literally had a crawdad party. They were giving out crawdads. And
how do they cook that here?
I'm just wondering that, because I saw there was a seafood camp that I saw, and I was like, I love seafood, but there's like a seafood out here,
in the desert. Seafood. Yeah, that might be one of today's goals, is like find a good food camp. I think we found the food district.
Like you said, it is very diverse in terms of politeness out here. I will say that.
Yeah, we've run across a number of that girl, that guy's, a little bit more of a percentage than you see at Bonnaroo. Just be straight up honest with you.
Can I just tell them what happened?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was in they do like free food events out here. And this is, I've gotten way, way, way more free food than
Oh, so much good stuff.
So much good stuff. Just 5 minutes ago, some guy,
want a hot dog?
Like, hot dog? My neighbor
sandwiches.
over here, gave me a hot dog yesterday. Last night I was in a line at a theme camp, and it was literally like an event, a hot dog event, and there was 3 left. There was 3 people in line, and the guy gave 2 hot dogs to the guy next to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's no.
Well, it was kind of bullcrap. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together until after the fact. Those guys were charming each other and flirting a little bit, and he just ignored you, and Charlotte was. Do you want to tell it? You were kind of distraught, and deservedly so, I thought.
Yeah, I respect the camp. I respect it's your event. You can do whatever you want to. It's your thing. But I actually stood up for myself a little bit, and I was like, hey, that was not cool.
Yeah, I thought you had reason.
You can start your own hot dog camp, and I was like, maybe I will start my own hot dog camp. I mean, whatever.
I understand the snark out here a little bit better
I get
now.
It, but
now that I've seen these kind of things, sometimes
that was still a crappy move. But on that hand, right after that, I went to I was on a swing thing that was going around and around with Walter Productions.
That was their swing?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, if it wasn't, it was right next to their camp.
Next to Big Red and Walter, the giant VW bus. Kind of looks like Russ's.
I was on a swing, and there was a guy who was like, oh, can I join you? And I said, sure, because it was one of those flat, bed swings. And he's like, hi, I'm Dimitri. How's your day been? And I said, it's been so bad.
Oh,
I just wanted a hot dog. And he's like, oh my God.
What happened? Tell me where they're at.
Tell me, oh my God.
Where did they hurt you?
And he was so nice and so kind, and it really turned it around. So really helpful. So really, so it's far greater. And it's, you got to get over, if you can get through the negatives, you're golden.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I won't name names, but I've known some close friends that have come out here before and came away not super impressed. And I think that was why. Mm-hmm. I think they let the negatives define it.
Right.
There are more negatives here than at Bonnaroo. I'll just be straight up honest with you. There's some people that are, that girl, that guy, some jerkwads. But there's a lot of kind, welcoming, loving people here that outweigh them for me personally. I think it's such a microcosm of life. You have to focus more on the positives. There's negatives here, but if you if you don't let Dimitri come in and help you from worrying about the hot dog, you got to leave yourself open to that.
Exactly.
And it does go to show how lucky we are that we have such a loving community at Bonnaroo. Maybe we have 1-2% of that guy, that girl.
Right.
Here it's maybe 30%, give or take.
Exactly. Exactly.
Anyway, we got some more time. I think today is self-care day. We've been washing up and soaking our feet. We're going to, after the heat dies down a little bit, we're going to kind of explore the food district now that we know where that is.
Yes.
Now that we've been here for a few days, we understand there's different districts.
Yeah.
I think their city planners kind of put a lot of different things. So, like, we found there's a MacGyver district where you can learn how to make different things.
We saw a really cool, we went by like a MASH themed camp, and it was like a whole army base themed camp, which was cool.
I like that. Finally found that this morning.
It was cool. They had like the army, like actual like barracks set up.
But there's so many districts, and it's so hard to like see them all. It really is the Disneyland of Disney World of wookery. I'm just going to be straight up honest. All right, we'll have more thoughts. I think that's a lot to cram in now. See you guys in a bit.
Okay, so it's been about a week, and we're finally back home.
Yeah, I'm going to be straight up honest. It took us a while to kind of recuperate.
Decompression is what they call it.
Oh, yeah. You know, I thought that we might record something on the way home, but I was just so tore up. I didn't really have it in me to sound enthusiastic and energetic and everything. I was like, okay, let's just wait till we get home.
Toe up from a flow up?
Basically. We did have a good time on the way home. Like, the trip home was a lot more beautiful and more eventful than the trip there.
It was so beautiful. Oh my gosh, we went through some gorgeous places, Utah, Colorado, and then we actually stayed on the way home with our good friends Blair and Adrienne. So shout out to them. They are the couple that got married on top of the bus, the two ladies that got married, and just so wonderful to us. And thank you so much for letting us stay with you guys.
Yeah, seriously.
They live near Kansas City, and they had 2 cats and 2 dogs, and Noodles, the cat, stayed with us. And
Noodles is a black and white cat that kind of looked like Ricky, and like he was waiting for us on our little like air mattress, and he stayed there all night. I love Noodles so much, so shout out to Noodles. But yeah, I had a good time with them. We like made some of the Shrinky Dink jewelry. I brought one home to Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't spend too much time in Kansas City. I know Ryan wanted us to, but we got there about like 10 o'clock, and we had to get up at like 7 to get home a good hour the next day. So I will be back to get some Kansas City barbecue one of these days. But if anybody is doing a cross-country trip, oh gosh, that route through Colorado and Utah is the way that you want to go.
Yeah, I-70.
Holy crap, I didn't know stuff like that could exist.
I've been to Utah before, but I had never done I-70 through Colorado and Utah, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's one of the most gorgeous drives you'll ever take in your life.
Oh, yeah, and if you need a recommendation for a certain kind of thing to get in Colorado, you know what I'm talking about. Go to Vail, Colorado, hit me up, and I'll give you a recommendation for a good store.
Some candy?
Yeah, Colorado candy. I plead the fifth, otherwise I'll say nothing else. Sharla, how about we open up our positivity box?
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
It's still got playa dust all over it. Playa dust. I keep mispronouncing that. It's like Calliope.
Calliope.
Yeah, Calliope, Calliope, Playa.
I'm just picking.
All right, so if we didn't really mention this before, this was part of our theme camp. We put out a box that said, insert positivity here, or we said, radiate positivity here.
This is just something that Daniel and I did.
Yeah.
And we have not, full warning, we have not opened this yet. Neither Daniel or I know what's in this.
Yeah, so basically people would come by and they would write down something positive about themselves or somebody else or Burning Man or the world, whatever. They wrote it down on a Post-it note and stuck it in the box. We haven't opened it. This was kind of a piece of Bonnaroo that we were hoping to bring to Burning Man. So let's see what all we got. There's a handful here. We were kind of camped in the back corner, so we didn't get a ton.
Yeah, we didn't get many.
So we're going to read all of them here, I think.
We really wanted to get people that we met. So
yeah, people that would come to see us. All right, here's the first one. What does it say?
Life is what you make it.
It's almost like a fortune cookie.
Yeah, it is.
What does this one say? This is a new one.
An incredible, beautiful bunch of people taking care of each other.
Well, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
That sounds like the campgrounds at Rue. All right, next one. Oh, this is a long one. What is it?
You read that one.
All right, kind of read this person's handwriting. I love walking around wearing no shoes, the same clothes, and a filthy hat for 7 straight days with all of my favorite new people. Okay, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, you just have to give yourself up to it.
I like this one.
The
world is full of amazing fucking people.
I think that came from, I'm going to bet that came from Wayne.
I don't know.
Yeah, so we should give a shout out to Wayne. He was kind of like a Sherpa to us of sorts at Burning Man. He was like one of the leaders of Disco Balls, the camp that kind of adopted us. He was incredible. He was like one of these awesome people that you meet at Rue, kind of like Dave at the Monkey Bar, or can you think of anybody else that he reminded you of? He reminded me a little bit of Russ.
When you see people that are, to give you an example, when you see people that at Bonnaroo that are like true Bonnaroovians that have been there for years and years and years and like really take the Bonnaroo code seriously, Wayne took the Burning Man principles seriously.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Just a true burner.
One of the principles is inclusivity, and like he went out of his way to make us feel like home and welcome and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's a cool guy from Los Angeles with Camp Disco Balls. I don't even remember what else he does in the default world because that's not really something you talk about.
You don't really talk about that.
I thought about interviewing him for the podcast, but that's just not something that you do.
That you really do that.
Yeah, something that is from the outside world. You don't do that there. That's not really appropriate inside, the whole world of Burning Man. So, I mean, I can pass on some wonderful things about this guy, but what happened there stayed there. And it's not like a Vegas kind of thing. It's just like you don't bring stuff intrinsic, I don't know the word, integral to Burning Man to the outside world.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all the love in the world to Wayne, who came and checked on us every day, made sure that we had what we needed, invited us over to their parties. I think he gave us something to eat one day, if I remember right. Mm-hmm. Certainly gave me enough to drink that one night.
That was the guy on the other side. Gave us some hot dogs. Yeah, but still, just an amazing, amazing group of people that we had for neighbors.
So, Charlotte, what are your overall thoughts to sum up Burning Man? Like, what was it? What you expected? How was it different?
It was. I mean, you do have to have a. It will challenge you. Let me say that. It will challenge you both mentally and physically. And you do have to work. It is a lot of hard work.
More than Bonnaroo.
Yes, way, 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 way more than Bonnaroo. It's when they say it's not a festival, it's not a festival.
It is and it isn't at the same time. Like a lot of the city, like the different blocks where people have camps, is very reminiscent of a festival. It's like going around in the campgrounds at Rue. But if everybody was doing something like the Monkey Bar or Camp Red Rue, like maybe like 10 to 15% of everybody at Bonnaroo is like hosting something for everyone.
There's no stages.
Yeah.
There's no time.
That's true.
It will challenge you just in every aspect of your physical being. But it's so worth it. It is so worth it in the end.
You have to have an adventure travel mindset, like as if you're going to go on like a really long hike or like go up a mountain or something like that. It's something that you're going to feel accomplished after you've done it. And
we had a great conversation with this one guy from Chicago, and he was telling us, something about you're better for doing it or something. What did he say, Daniel?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly because it was at this martini bar. Yeah, so I don't remember all the details, but we just started talking to this couple across the way from us at this fancy martini bar, kind of like date night at Burning Man for me and Sharla, and he was talking about how it kind of represents the duality of life.
Right.
Like things are amazing and tough. He said that Burning Man, in his opinion, is the best party on the planet. But it's also going to break you. It's also going to be very, very hard.
Exactly.
But you feel better having gone to the party because there was a high cost of the work to get to it.
Exactly. And after he told me that, I was like, that makes so much more sense.
And I don't want to say that like the hardcore burners are gatekeeping, but I understand better about how they're like, oh, the barrier to entry keeps certain people out.
Exactly.
Like they don't want the LA influencer crowd there, or the people who are only there to only there to observe and not participate.
And not,
Like you need to put in the work and be involved if you're going to be at Burning Man. So I understand it's not necessarily gatekeeping. It may come across that way, but it's just like, you got to go to like an outdoor store or REI before you go hike the Pacific Crest Trail, for example. You can't just go to Burning Man without the same type of preparation. I understand that better now.
Right.
And I think their snarkiness about that we misunderstood a little bit before, was them just kind of like having fun with the people that weren't necessarily ready.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
There is a lot of snark, and I'm sorry if we're rambling a little bit, but there's a lot of snark in the Burning Man community, and especially like if you're thinking about going and you go on the Burning Man groups and on Facebook and stuff like that, you'll see so much snark. Especially if you say, well, I go to a lot of festivals, and you'll see so much snark. And it's not, it's not snark. It's keeping, I mean, it's what Daniel said. It's
something you can really only understand once you've been there.
Once you've been there.
Once you've put in the sweat and almost exhausted yourself to the point of blacking out, then you're like, oh, this is why they're doing that.
Right. Because if so many people came in, it would change the way Burning Man is.
Well, if there was a large percentage of people that came in unprepared, that didn't have the water, didn't have the supplies, then it would be on everybody else to keep them safe, and it wouldn't be the same party anymore. Exactly. So I kind of get it. It's hard to really verbalize. I feel like I still need time to let all of this sink in before I can really put it into words the best way. Hopefully I have to kind of lead people to an understanding right now.
But to sum it up, if you want to go from Bonnaroo to Burning Man, hit us up because we have some great tips for you.
Yeah, so I feel like if you've gone to Bonnaroo successfully a handful of times, you are a leg up, certainly, go into Burning Man. Some of the same things that you have to do to survive in the camps.
You're definitely a leg up.
It's definitely very, I don't even want to say it's training wheels because it's more than that. If you've done Bonnaroo, you've just got to make a few changes and a few other things to get ready for Burning Man. It's not that much harder. Now, everything is on a more gargantuan scale. It takes forever to get there. You're going to have to do more to your campground. You're going to walk or bike a lot longer than you would have anticipated. There's a lot more involved. But in the Venn diagram between Bonnaroo and Burning Man, there is a pretty good overlap. They want to say it's not a festival, but it's not really a music festival. It's a festival of people.
Right.
So, and you got to be open-minded too. You can't go in and say like, oh, I'm going to go to this thing at this time, this thing. No, you just got to point your bike in a direction and go and just be open to whatever's going to happen.
There's no vendors there. You can't buy food.
You can get it if you ride around. Somebody's going to give you something. Don't bring alcohol. There's no need. Everybody's going to hook you up.
There's no trash collection. You have to take everything out. I mean, it's tough.
That's something that we should take back to Bonnaroo is like how clean they keep things and how seriously they take keeping the place trash free. That's something we can improve at Bonnaroo. We'll talk more about that here in just a moment. One last thing I wanted to bring up before we get to that though, in line with talking about like, oh, you can't schedule things. We got suckered earlier in this episode.
I was going to talk about that.
Yeah, we thought we were going to go see Rufus Du Sol, but somebody pranked all of Burning Man.
It was a prank.
Yeah, by
I love it.
Somehow getting their like Rufus Du Sol entry on the quasi-official schedule. There were probably like 1,000 people that showed up at this one camp expecting Rufus Du Sol, and it didn't happen.
The camp didn't even exist, I don't think.
Yeah. Like Dusty Throwdown. Everybody got there, and everybody in that little section was just like, what? Huh? Why are you all here?
Rufus Du Sol wasn't even in the country.
Yeah. And this is something I'll give to Burning Man. If something like that happened at Bonnaroo or another like similar music festival, people would be pissed.
Oh, yeah.
For like one of their favorite artists to not even be there, and it had just been like a prank where somebody was messing with everybody. But at Burning Man, everybody was just like, huh, oh well, whatever.
It was like 3 people got mad.
Yeah. Because you have
hilarious.
to have that attitude. You just have to roll with it and just be open to whatever's going to happen. At first, I was a little annoyed. I was like, oh, I kind of wanted to see them. But then when I saw everybody like kind of going with it and people like, there was a guy that had like a giant speaker system playing Rufus Du Sol songs. I was like, you know what? This is actually kind of funny. Whatever, you know.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that epicness of that type of trolling, I love it so much. I love it.
That's kind of the history of Burning Man too. There's a lot of the, back in the day, we talked about this before on like one of our history podcasts. There was like the Merry Pranksters. That was actually some of the people that were involved with the Further Bus. Like there's this whole like history of people trolling people
I love it so
out
much.
of the San Francisco area. And that's part of where Burning Man comes from. So if you get pranked at Burning Man, like you just have to accept it. That's part of the fun, you know? But whatever. I just wanted to mention that because I know earlier in the episode I was like, I was so excited about Rufus Du Sol.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll see him again.
Yeah.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
What can we bring back from Burning Man to Bonnaroo? How can we take the lessons that we learned from Burning Man?
I'm going to let you go first because you had some really good.
Yeah. So I talked just a moment ago about how I love that Burning Man is a city and you drive all over the place on your bike and every camp has something that they're trying to offer everyone. Like Camp Disco Balls that adopted us. They had a disco party and had cake and and nachos and all kind of stuff. They were just giving out to everybody for free. There's so many examples of camps that had like a bar or like some kind of learning space, a workshop, a library. What else did we see? The giant trampoline park.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had something different and unique that they were offering to the community for free. They don't even expect anything in return. They just expect for you to also participate and do something for the whole community. Mm-hmm. Now, we do some of that at Bonnaroo. Like, we've tried to lead by example and host our things, with Flip Turn this past year and the DJ stuff and other fun stuff. And there is Red Roo that has their beer exchange. Rooham had emo night. There's many others that I'm just not thinking of right now. Groups at Bonnaroo who have contributed to the community by putting on something homegrown for everyone. I want to see way more of that at Bonnaroo. I know it will be tough to ever get it to the extent that we see it at Burning Man because, let's be honest, there's a lot of people coming to Burning Man that are coming from like LA and Silicon Valley that have some money to throw around for this kind of thing. So some of the stuff we saw is just ridiculous. Like the money they're throwing into that is preposterous. The crowd at Bonnaroo is, let's be honest, it's mostly like college-age crowds, and they don't really have a lot of money to throw into things like that to just freely throw it to the community. I feel like we need to figure out a way to connect the two things or like finish the equation, right? I think there are probably a lot of people that want to put on something cool to contribute to the community at Bonnaroo, but they don't necessarily have the support, funding, whatever. So how can we do that? I've alluded to this in the past couple episodes. I'm eventually working on a big project that I will have more to talk about in the year to come that will hopefully solve some of these problems. This has encouraged me to really dig into that. I'm kind of focusing my efforts on like getting back up to speed here and at work and like cleaning up all of our Burning Man stuff and getting ready for a Halloween party. But something I'm going to be tackling over the next couple of months is sketching all of this out. How do we connect those things and complete that equation? Because I want to see the city out in the camps at Bonnaroo like we saw at Burning Man.
Right.
And I feel like if people had the support or the guidance or even like just some instructions or something to help them put together events to get it on the Bonnaroo schedule like we were and like Rooham was, Bonnaroo would be a much better place. I really feel personally that the stuff happening in the campgrounds should be equal to the stuff that's happening in Bonnaroo.
I agree.
That's just my opinion. I think we're getting there. I think a lot of what we saw this past year was kind of the beginning stages of it. But now that I have seen it happen at Burning Man, I am more motivated than ever to help make that happen at Bonnaroo.
Right. I think, like you said, we are at the beginning stages of it. There's some groups at Bonnaroo that have been doing it for years. Take Supergroup.
Supergroup, yeah. That's
They're
a good
one of the OGs.
Yeah.
Out there that's been doing it for years and years and years. And just continuing on with that. Supergroup, Bonnaroo, and I would love to see more of that.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot to be done to get us to that point. But I'm looking forward to the work and the conversation with others to make that happen. If you got any ideas, hit us up. I want to take some good time. I don't think it's something that we're going to get to next year, but I think in the coming 2, 3, 4 years, we can, even without AC Entertainment's or Live Nation support, get to that point.
Right.
And that's something I think we have to look at too, because like what I experienced out at Burning Man is a lot of these camps that were putting something amazing together didn't necessarily have the Burning Man organization support. It's something they were doing on their own. It would be great if Bonnaroo supported us in this, and I'm not even talking about any financial support because, we can't expect that. Support as far as getting on schedules and having stuff like we had this past year to get access to like sound systems and stuff, sure.
Right.
But anyway, I got a lot of thought to put into this. Charlotte, what would you like to take from Burning Man to Bonnaroo?
Well, I'm going to agree with Daniel, and then I'm going to keep mine fairly simple with two things. Immediacy, number one. And immediacy means being there in the moment. That's one of the Burning Man principles. And, I tend to not use my phone that much at Bonnaroo because it's dead half the time. It's dead 75% of the time, 90% of the time. And just being in the moment more. Being there with your friends. Living in the moment. So I think I would bring that back to Bonnaroo for sure. And then also... say that D word for me.
Decommodification.
Decommodification. The brands, the corporate sponsorships.
Oh, man. Now that I've been at Burning Man and seen a place with none of that, I realize how obtrusive it is at Bonnaroo.
Yes. We talked in a previous podcast, it was like 2 or 3 podcasts ago, we talked about how many corporate sponsorships that Bonnaroo really had this year. And I felt kind of bad saying that it was too much. Now I don't feel bad at all.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
it was too much. You couldn't walk without bumping into something.
I understand the state of things, especially in the present economy and kind of like the post-pandemic period where things are kind of crawling back into motion or whatever. It's a necessary evil to have those kind of sponsorships to pad out the budget. But I think that having so many of those activations like kind of in the way, honestly, inside Centeroo deflates the experience. Now that I've seen a place where that kind of corporatism doesn't exist, I'm realizing better, oh yeah, this is starting to be a problem.
Right. It was so much. When you can't walk without bumping into something, it was just so much last year. It was just too much.
Yeah. And at the very least, I feel like if some corporate entity is going to have a giant footprint inside Centeroo, they need to put in the work to make themselves more intertwined into the space and in the community. Like, I'll pull one out of my head from a couple of years ago. Like, there was an insurance company. I'm not even going to name them because I don't want to give them the space. They had a big activation kind of close to, I want to say it was close to the other a couple of years ago. It made no sense for that to be there. It had nothing to do with a music festival. It had nothing to do with the Bonnaroo community.
Right.
But I will name one, like Bacardi. They have like that big beach. That fits well.
Right.
That fits pretty good with the volleyball and everything next to the other. But if something is there and it's in the way and it has nothing to do with anything, that is detracting and lessening the experience. Right. I understand that better now after having been to Burning Man.
At Burning Man, you can't even really wear clothing with brands on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's looked down upon if you wear. I mean, nobody's going to like call you out or anything, obviously, but you're really not even supposed to wear clothing with brands on it. And I mean, just seeing a world with literally no corporate brands and just, even you can't even, have a, even putting out your bikes, you have to cover up the logos on your bikes and things, and just being in a world with no corporate logos whatsoever, it just really changes your outlook.
It was like going to a festival with ad block activated.
Oh, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Daniel, exactly. So that just really changes your outlook a bit. And also something else I would bring back, just one quick thing. Y'all, we got to do something about the trash.
Oh, man, that's another piece of perspective that we got. Everybody is so careful with their MOOP, matter out of place.
Yes.
Another word for trash.
Bonnaroo does a great job with the Clean Vibes program. But ultimately, it's not their responsibility. It's personal responsibility. Take personal responsibility with your trash. Please.
Yeah. It is
throw it on the ground.
Tough, like, by, like, Saturday at Roo. You see, like, stuff just strewn all over the place. And I understand, like, people are putting in an effort,
But
I feel like we could, having seen the best example, I feel like we could put in more effort.
I mean, I get it. When you're in the pit and there's a can and you don't have a garbage can right there. I'm saying don't bring 10,000 googly eyes. That's going to create moop and going to get lost in the grass. I mean, don't bring glitter. That's going to create moop. Like
something I would recommend. A lot of people bring like little plasticky things, and I'm guilty of this. I've given out little spacemen. Figure out a way you can provide an experience to someone that doesn't include like a piece of something that's going to be lost or thrown away.
Which is immediacy.
Immediacy, yeah. Mm-hmm. Anything else, Charlie?
That's it. So that's what I would bring back.
Okay. Hey, one other thing I want to talk about. We're recording this on Sunday morning. It's going to publish in a few hours. I want to give a shout out to our friends in Chattanooga. We hit up one night of the Moon River Festival there last night. I was pretty impressed. I've heard Russ and Barry talk about it for years.
Yeah.
And they had been,
great,
Lindsay also had been telling us to come over there. And I was very impressed for like a small to mid-sized music festival like that in the park in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that Zach Brown show? You bought a t-shirt you're wearing.
I bought a t-shirt. Shout out to Daniel for driving all the way
The
there
whole
and all the
way.
way back.
I wanted to spoil you for you to relax after our big trip and everything. But yeah, Moon River, gosh, I was so impressed. That was a good example of how a good festival can fit into a small footprint.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to bend the ear of people in Huntsville or involved in Huntsville saying it is time that we got one of those here.
Right?
In our town. We have the space just as much as that park on the other side of the
Yeah.
river in Chattanooga. We could be doing something like that. I really hope that the powers that be don't try to cram a festival into the Orion Theater. It's good. It got a shout
That's
out.
not a festival.
Yeah, it got a page in the Rolling Stone this past month. But it is not a space for a festival. I know they're thinking about that. If it has assigned seating, it's not a festival. Let's be
That's not a
serious.
festival.
We got a good space at Big Spring Park in the middle of Huntsville that is just as big as Moon River. I didn't used to think that Big Spring Park, the way it is nowadays, could fit a festival. But now that I've seen what they did at Moon River, I'm like, please, no, bring one in.
On a future podcast, we got to tell our corn dog story.
Okay, we'll save that for another one.
Save it.
All right, Charlotte, anything to end this episode about Burning Man? Any last thoughts?
If you're thinking about going, hit us up. We will give you some great tips.
Yeah,
Hit us up, please.
if you've ever thought like, okay, this is a bucket list thing for me, I really want to do this at least once. That's my takeaway. It is worth it.
It's worth it.
It is worth it. It took
Do once, yeah.
It took a lot of planning, saving up off days, saving up money for me and Charlotte to do this. I feel like we were close to pulling the trigger before the pandemic, but after this and after me and Charlotte had a lot happen in our lives, we're like, life's short. We should do this.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about it, I'll tell you the same thing. Life is short. You should do it.
I think I'll probably write something like on our website and I'll give like the financial breakdown. Because somebody was asking
It's not as
us,
expensive as you think.
Yeah, somebody was asking us like, what did the financials look like for you guys? And I was like, yeah, I'll share that. I don't care. So I'll probably write up something and post that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there are a lot of people that are throwing a lot of
yeah.
money into it.
That's not us.
But you do not have to do that.
And there's a lot of misconceptions about it. Like you don't have to be to join a camp. You can just go on your own.
Yeah.
So just hit us up. If you're thinking about going.
One other thing too, there was a photo that went viral. Like Consequence posted it, and a couple other big media organizations posted it on socials and stuff. There was this picture of like 14 lanes of traffic backed up and stopped, waiting for 14 hours. That did happen. You can avoid that very, very, very easily. It took us like 15 minutes to get out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like everybody's burn is different. So if you decide to leave a little early, it's going to save you a lot of headache. If you want to do the whole thing, you can, but just be prepared to put in the work. And the work in that case may be sitting in your car for 14 hours just to get back on the gravel.
Mm-hmm.
But you can avoid that. So that picture is misleading. You can get around that very, very easily. But again, if you've ever thought about it, it is hard work. It's not as much as you think. Takes a little saving up some money, but not as much as you think.
Yeah, it's not that. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're thinking about it, hit me and Charlotte up. You should do it. We will help you. It is something that will put a lot of things in perspective. I feel like for everybody, you may learn something new, but more than likely, it's going to teach you more about what you already know. That was the case for me, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
I agree.
All right. Okay, well, that covers it for our Burning Man episode. Man, it was fun. I do think we'll be back. It won't be next year or even the year after, but maybe it'll be like the Olympics every 4 years or something like that. And definitely got to try out those regional burns, too.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mitchell. I think we'll go to Alchemy next year. All right, everybody. We'll see you in a week or two. Get out there and radiate positivity.
Have a fantastic day.
No, there she is.